안녕하세요. 원서 있는 고양이 제인이에요. 오늘은 해리포터 3권 Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban 챕터 6 어제 읽던 거 마저 읽어보도록 할게요. 야옹. Harry's immediate impression was of a large, bickering insect. Professor Trolley moved into the firelight, and they saw that she was very thin. Her large glasses magnified her eyes to several times their natural size, and she was draped in a gauzy spangled shawl. Innumerable chains and beads hung around their spindly neck, and her arms and hands were encrusted with bangles and rings. "Sit, my children, sit," she said, and they were all climbed awkwardly into armchairs or sank into cups. Harry, Ron, and Hermione sat themselves around the same round table. "Welcome to divination," said Professor Trelawney, who had seated herself in a winged armchair in front of the fire. "My name is Professor Trelawney. You may not have seen me before. I find the descending call of it to hustle and bustle of the main school clouds my inner eyes." Nobody said anything in answer to this extraordinary pronouncement. Professor Trelawney delicately rearranged her shawl and continued. "So you have chosen to study divination. Those are all magical arts. You must only the outside. If you do not have the sight, there is very little light overlaid to teach you. Books can take you only so far in this field." At these words, both Harry and Ron glanced, grinning at Hermione, who looked startled as the news the books were coming much help in this subject. "Many reducing wizards tell me that they are in the area out of loud bangs of snails and sudden disappearings, are yet unable to penetrate the mailed mysteries of the future." Professor Trelawney went on, her enormous green eyes moving composed in nervous face. "It is charged to few." "You boy," she said suddenly to Mabel, who almost toppled off his poof. "Is your grandmother well?" "But I think so," said Neville tremulously. "I wouldn't be so sure if I were you, dear," said Professor Trelawney, the firelight glinting on her long emerald earrings. Neville gulped. Professor Trelawney continued placidly. "We will be covering the basic methods of divination this year. The first term will be devoted to reading the tea leaves. Next term, we should progress to palmistry. By the way, my dear," she said suddenly at Palvati Paltil, "beware of red-haired men." But Betty gave a startled look at Ron, who was right behind her, and edged her different. "And the summer term," Professor Trelawney went on, "we shall progress to the crystal ball. If we have finished with fire omens, that is. Unfortunately, classes will be disrupted in February by a nasty bed of flu. I myself lose my voice. And in Easter, when the village is forever." A very tense silence followed this pronouncement, but Professor Trelawney seemed aware of it. "I wonder, dear," she said to Lavender Brown, who was nearest, shrank back in her chair, "if you could pass me the largest silver teapot." Lavender, looking relieved, stood up, took an enormous teapot from the shelf, and put it up. Professor Trelawney. "Thank you, Magna." Accidentally, This thing you're dreading, it will happen on Friday the 16th of October. Lavender trembled. I want to divide into pairs. Pull up the teacup from the shelf. Come to me and I will fit. Then sit down and drink. Drink until only the drinks remain. Swirl these around the cup 3 times with the left hand and turn the cup upside down on its saucer. Wait for the last of the tea to drain away. Then give your cup to your partner to read. You will interpret the patterns using pages 5 and 6 of Unfolding the Future. I shall move among you, helping and instructing. Oh, dear! She caught Neville by the arms and made to stand up. After you've broken your first cup, you would be so kind to select one of the blue pattern ones. I'd rather attached to the pink. Sure enough, Neville had no sooner ring to shelf the teacups when they were sprinkled with breaking china. Professor Trelawney swept over to him, with only a dustpan and a dash, and said, "One of the blue ones, and dear, you wouldn't mind? Thank you." When Harry and Ron had their teacups filled, they went to bed terrible and tried to drink the scalding tea quickly. They swirled the dregs around as Professor Trelawney had instructed, then drained the cups and swapped them. "Right," said Ron as they both opened their books on pages 5 and 6. "Look can you see in mine?" "A lot of soggy brown stuff," said Harry. The heavily perfumed smoke in the room was making him feel sleepy and stupid. "Broaden your minds, my dears, and allow your eyes to see past to the mundane," Professor Trelawney cried through the gloom. Harry tried to pull himself together. "Right, you got a wonky sort of cross," he said, consulting Unfolding the Future. "That means you're going to have trials and suffering. Sorry about that. But there's a thing that could be in the sun. Hang on, that means great happiness. So they could suffer, but very, very happy." "You need your NRI testing, if you ask me," said Ron. They both had to stifle their laughs as Professor Trelawney gazed in their direction. "My turn." Ron peered into Harry's teacup. His throat had wrinkled with an effort. "There's a blob a bit like a ha-ha hat," he said. "Maybe you're going to work for the Mystery of Magic." He turned the teacup other way up. But this way it moved an icon. "What's that?" He scanned his copy and Unfolding the Future. "A windfall, unexpected gold. Excellent, you couldn't miss some. And there's a thing here." He turned the cup again. "It looks like a animal. Yeah, there's a head, like a heifer, no sheep." Professor Trelawney whirled around as Harry let out a snort of laughter. "Let me see then, my dear," she said reprovingly to Ron, sweeping over and snatching Harry's cup from him. Everyone went quiet to watch. Professor Trelawney was staring into the teacup, rotating it anti-clockwise. "The falcon, my dear. You have a deadly enemy." "But everyone knows that," said Hermione in a loud whisper. Professor Trelawney stared at her. "Well, they do," said Hermione. "Everybody knows about Harry and you-know-who." Harry, Ron stared at her with a mixture of amazement and admiration. They never heard Hermione speak to a teacher like that before. Professor Trelawney chose not to reply. She lowered her huge eyes to Harry's cup again and continued to turn it. "The club on attack. Dear, dear, this is an unhappy cup." I thought there was a bowler hat, said Ron sheepishly. Let's go. Danger in your path, my dear. Everyone was staring transfixed at Professor Trelawney, and they got caught a final turn, gasped, and then screamed. There was another tinkle of breaking china. Neville had smashed his thickened cup. Professor Trelawney sank into a vacant armchair, and little glaring hand at her heart, and her eyes closed. 재밌게 들으셨다면 구독과 좋아요 꾹꾹 눌러주시고 다음 영상에서 만나요. 안녕!